grindcore hails from Finland. This time we go for a band called Cannibal Accident that has been here since 2007. This time I got both vinyl and the CD for review. And because for review purposes I was listening to the CD, this one is still very much wrapped. So let's just unwrap it. Let's unsleeve it, if like the saying goes. Because what's the better to do it the right way than to open it just before the camera for the first time. Assuming the music is exactly the same for both formats, I'm just assuming here a lot of things. Let's see what this album is first all about. This one's called Disgust, and if I recall correctly, fifth album by the band. And they have always been doing solid work with the death grind. Maybe not the most surprising stuff, but kind of a macabre humor combining music of death and crime. So here you have 5 guys, their heads in bottles, just how you should have it. Almost a serial killer level stuff. Inside of the vinyl you will have, of course, the vinyl itself, as well as the inlay with all the lyrics. Some dead bodies here, assuming, as well as the lineup, recording notes, etc. And then lyrical output. Let's put it right there to wait for its turn. And then you of course have the vinyl, which is coming from a different production company or label. This is I Am Productions. And this is actually the other vocalist's own label versus the CD version, which is coming through Inverse Records in Finland by the very late of February 2025. And here you have once again the information, lineup, etc. Then let's go for some lyrical output. And as you will notice, there are plenty of tracks, 20 in total throughout 35 minutes, give or take. And like I said, this is Death Grind, which explains very, very well why the songs are short and sweet. Well, the sweet isn't exactly the right word to describe these guys sitting in a hot tub with their shades on, having cold drinks and all. This is how they look, wild and grimy. Alright, that's about the introduction on the packaging. Let's see about the band. Cannibal Accident, death metal grindcore. This has been the thing ever since 2007 when the band was founded, with a little bit different lineup than nowadays. Gore, murder, butchery, cannibalism. These are only some of the topics the band is going through with the ideas. There are lots of humor, like mentioned. But still, nonetheless, they're keeping true to the original rules or default settings for the given genre. So, what started with the self-titled album in 2009 effectively had a little bit of different members. You look at the past members, you will see some known names in the Finnish scene here who are part of the deal here, but that we really quickly changed for the second album, Omnivorous, in 2012, and by this time, the lineup was already more or less set. If you look at this current lineup, you will see that some of the members have been already in the album. Petri Kolkka is the main songwriter for the band, the founder of the band, and he has other bands which have been more or less active throughout the years, already starting with early death metal back in the days, but also done other stuff during the years and all that stuff, even including some kind of a venom-worshipping black metal take with Hellbox. So, a long-time veteran of the Turku-based scene here in my home city. Then he was joined by Heikki Raisio, a guttural vocalist from other bands back in the days. And later on, Kurva Doctor or Jussi Helenius, man of many talents, including Metalli Helvetti past and record shops and all that stuff. And he has a lot of past with other bands, including melodic death metal, thrash, etc. So, bunch of veterans in the band, indeed. They were later on joined by Joni Suodenjärvi, man of death metal bands especially, and later on Aleksi Wilkman for drums in 2018. So as you can see, comparing to the discography list here, the lineup has changed gradually over the years, and now by the album 5, it is pretty much the same as with album number 4, Necrocluster. So with Disgust, we go for about 35 minutes. Of course, this is missing the track lengths here, but based on what I saw with my CD player, it's about 35 minutes, give or take, 20 tracks, and The topics are pretty much what is already described. As with the death grind stuff, you will hear certain voice samples of murderers or people related to murders and other violent effects. So yeah, it's kind of a gory and grimy stuff, but also there's a lot of humor, and you will, realize that with some names like Wife Eater, Woman's Best Friend, kind of a bad humor, but then again, very, very much, fitting for the stuff. If you have ever seen the band live, you know what to expect. It's a humorous show with a lot of gory stuff as well, in a way at least. And that's part of the charm here. They have never been too serious, but more in tongue-in-the-cheek kind of a band that deal both the effective death grind stuff as well as adding a little bit humor to it. And as such, separating them from the big mass, not being overly serious and all that stuff. What is interesting with this given album is that they use 3 different vocalists. Well, mostly Raisio and Helenius doing the most stuff, being more screamy, more shrieky, grunting, growling, and even howling to a certain degree of vocalist, and Zodiac being the 3rd guy. So there is a variety of different vocals being used, which is then again very important, because the basic thing is, as with Death Grind always, you have the short and sweet tracks. Like here you can see these example tracks about 2 minutes. So it's pretty much, you have figured out by the track number 10 or so that you know what the rest of the album is going to be. So it's always heavy, sure. Violent, sure. High tempo, sure. You know how Death Grind is. If you don't know, well, this is your crash course to it. So by the half of the album, you already know how it's going to end pretty much. There are no absolute hit songs as such, but it's always heavy, it's violent, it's short and sweet. Or filthy. And that's where the variety comes in, with the different sets of vocals being used and also those spoken samples. So they're there to just kind of break the pattern in a way, which makes this rather enjoyable to listen to. Also, what is worth mentioning is that you have audible bass, really good thing. Overall good production, be it guitars, drums, whatever. So it sounds heavy and it sounds violent and it sounds proper metal. It's not like, hey, we ran out of budget, so let's sound poor. No, it sounds really great, especially for a band that is nowhere near mainstream stuff. So they have done great work with the production, and all the different people in the band coming from various backgrounds and various bands really add up to the whole feeling of the album. I don't know if this is the best album by the band, but it's definitely one of the best, in the top tier of the given style. Now, if you are a Death Grind fanatic, you are probably more enthusiastic than me about it. I've never been exactly a Death Grind fanatic. I mean, I do like some Death Grind, but more live than on albums. But however, I would put this in the roughly top trio for Finnish Death Grind acts with Rotten Sound and Inferior, because these guys have proper riffing and, like I said, enough variety with the vocals and samples and all that stuff. So they don't just sound one-trick pony, even though, technically speaking, that's exactly what it is. So there is no variation with tempos and whatnot. It's just the kind of stuff that you would expect from a Death Grind, but maybe better than average. Or, in my opinion, it is better than average in a given genre. So, for fans of the Death Grind, this is solid investment. Get your copy. If you prefer vinyl, yeah, sure, go for it. It looks better and all that stuff. If you're a CD listener, so go for that version. And I guess later on this will be at some point released. At least, I mean, it says already it's going to be released on a digital format as well. Don't know about tapes. Who knows? Maybe someday. And if you get the possibility, go to see them live. You totally would enjoy it, assuming you like Death and Grind in the first place. Now, this is my take on Disgust. What do you think about the band? If you're a newcomer to that one, check it out. You can start pretty much with this album and go enjoy. Bye-bye.